Welcome to the Coaches Show, the show where we talk all things basketball. From the beautiful campus of North Carolina A&T University, it's the Coaches Show. And now, here's your host.
Good evening, everyone. I am Brian Holloway. I am your host for this evening. Welcome back to our North Carolina A&T Women's Basketball Coaches Show. This is our third edition, and I'm your third different host. We started out with Raven Douglas, who is a part of our women's basketball team. Last week, we had with you Donald Ware, who's our play-by-play man for women's basketball on the stream. But congratulations to Donald. You had a great opportunity to go down to New Orleans this week and cover Super Bowl 59. So excited for him and that opportunity to be able to go down there, cover Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles with Jalen Hurts. But we're right here in Aggie land, ready to talk some women's basketball with you once again. North Carolina A&T women's basketball, again, off to a tremendous start in the Coastal Athletic Association. This is their third straight year where they are 8-1 in the conference. They are in first place. They are coming off a 74-51 win over Hampton, and now they are looking to try to close this out with a regular season championship. When you look at North Carolina A&T, it's just truly all about defense. When you talk to head coach Tarrell Robinson, he was even upset that they were able to get more than 50 points. That's just how much they emphasize defense here at North Carolina A&T. When you look at Coach Robinson's career, 241 wins, saw a stat today, 213 times he has held their opponents to under 40%. So 213 of his wins have come when he's held his opponents under 40% shooting. So you know defense has been the key to his success so far, and certainly you hope that will take North Carolina A&T all the way. Their first 8-1 start a couple of years ago ended up finishing 4-5 in the second half of the season for a 12-6 overall record. And then in the second season in the CAA, they started 8-1, ended up finishing 13-5 for a 5-4 second half. So hopefully, you know, those improvements keep happening, and then and as a result, they'll come away with a regular season championship. Great show for you here tonight. Of course, we have our head coach, Tarrell Robinson. He'll join us. We won't be back here for another month, so we want to kind of capture what's due for the rest of the season. We also have a special guest with us. Freshman Elliot Jessup is with us. Had a big-time game against Hampton at 11 points, knocked down some threes, looked pretty good out there. And then we also have our associate head coach with us, Siobhan Earp. She's been with Coach Robinson since he came back to this program, so certainly they have been able to enjoy a lot of that success together. So looking forward to a great show for you here this evening. We're going to come back with our head coach, Tarrell Robinson, talk a little women's basketball with him, come back with some of our special guests, and talk about the rest of the season as we go forward here. North Carolina A&T, of course, 12-8 overall, and as you know, as many of you know, they started the season 2-7, so 10-1 over their last 11 games. One of the hottest teams in the country, without question. Had that one little hiccup at Monmouth, but other than that, they have been spot on as they look to try to wrap up a regular season championship, go to the CAA tournament, and hopefully get back to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2021. So certainly looking forward to all of those things. But Coach Robinson, going to talk to us about all those things. We're going to take a quick pause here. We're going to come back with our head coach from North Carolina A&T women's basketball, Tarrell Robinson, when we return.
Stay tuned. The Coaches Show will be back after these messages.
Using these type of cleansers could be damaging and stripping your skin. I use new Olay cleansing melts every day. Just soak, activate, and wash to clean, tone, and refresh. That's a 3 times better clean. Olay.
6,000 universities. Why choose North Carolina A&T? We graduate more African American students in engineering, journalism, liberal arts, and agriculture than any other campus anywhere, period. Our grads earn more right out of school than all but one other university system peer. And 96% of Aggie alums say they wish they can do it all over again. Can you feel the pride? You will. A&T. Always doing, never done.
Good morning, America. Today, thousands of our teammates will make and deliver over 300 of the world's best brands and flavors, locally, in towns large and small. From the heartland to the coast, our products are moving and our trucks are rolling. We show passion and a purpose. We love to refresh and serve our communities. We're Coca-Cola Consolidated, your local bottler.
Vice President Kamala Harris is bringing the Fight for Our Freedoms college tour to North Carolina A&T State University today.
Why A&T specifically?
The history and legacy of a people is 400 years of oppression.
We have always been able to adjust and adapt to whatever is thrown at us. And I think that just speaks to the resilience of our community.
You did it, Aggies!
Welcome back to the show.
Welcome back to the show. I am here with the man, head coach Tarrell Robinson, 241 wins in. One of those wins came the other night against Hampton. And Coach, talk a little bit about that win. I noticed that you said they came out in the 2-3 zone, may have thrown you guys off guard a little bit. Talk about that first half and just kind of very competitive game early on.
Yeah, you know, this time of the year, the second time around, playing teams, they give you different looks. So we did not work on going against the 2-3. So I thought Coach Tamisha did a really good job in terms of trying to prepare their young women. So our continuity was a little off as far as offensively. We got a bunch of experienced kids and some new kids that when we mix them up, sometimes they forget the execution piece against the zone. But we were able to get it figured out, you know, in the second half. But yeah, so, and still, you know, like you said earlier, you know, our defense is always going to show up.
What is that? I know Coach Six is no longer there, but what does that rivalry mean to you in terms of Hampton? Because when you came in, you guys were just back and forth in the MEAC, that old MEAC rivalry now, and it's gone throughout the Big South, now the CAA. What does that rivalry mean to you? Because you've been so involved in it for so long.
Well, that's any HBCU. You know, we talked about Norfolk State last week, Hampton University, North Carolina Central, Winston-Salem, South Carolina State teams that we played over the years. I think, you know, the tradition of the competitiveness between both programs, the environment, you know, I think it's important for our young women. I always say that for them to get a feel of that culture. You know, I miss those double headers with the men playing right after us. But yeah, so, you know, playing Hampton, Hampton is one of the elite HBCU programs in the country, obviously in the CAA with us. And Coach Tamisha is a really good coach. I think they're a talented team. Sometimes, you know, the continuity doesn't always come when we want it as coaches. But I just thought we did a good job of being the staple of what we do, and that's defend.
Yeah, and you look at her situation, I don't know how much you can equate it to you having to come in and follow behind a successful coach in Coach Biz, but in terms of your experience and what you can speak to, what was that like for you having to come in and play that role like she's having to do in Hampton?
Well, you know, she didn't work with David Six. I worked with Pat Bibbs. I understood the system, the culture she had instilled here. So transitioning in, it was big to get the young women to be bought into me and my approach, because it's different than Coach Bibbs. You know, as far as getting the results we want, as far as wins, and then when you do win, kids tend to listen a little bit more.
Right. Talk a little bit about your defense. 8th in the country, one of the best in the country, top 10. Talk about that defense. Is it one of those situations where, you know, kind of that analogy in football where you eventually, you know, you're going to wear them down. You just have to kind of keep going at it. Maybe they get you at first, but eventually their defense is going to wear you down. How do you see that 13 seasons in?
Yeah, no, absolutely. First and foremost, my staff does an exceptional job of giving our players, our opponents scout, picking up their tendencies, making sure that we understand their sets and the identity of the team offensively. We have our principles, our standards, our non-negotiables that we have on the defensive end, and then just let our young women do what they do. You know, we We have long practices working on those things, so we expect those results come game time. And like you said, we're able to mix up some zone, mix up some man-to-man, pick up and press to throw off a team's rhythm. We got a lot of depth this year while being able to do that. So, it always leads to the right results. And the other thing I think is really important is our players really understanding personnel. Who are the shooters? Who are the drivers? Understanding our opponent's tendencies. And like I said, it goes back to my staff doing a good job with the scout.
We talk about non-negotiables. Is that almost like Jordan rules? Are they like a secret? Can you not reveal the non-negotiables when you're talking about kind of your defensive principles?
No, not really. I think that it's no different than anybody else in the country. Like one pass away, we don't want you to catch it. And some coaches, they say that, and the kids do it, and there's repercussions in our practice if you do that. Where our help starts, communication, which is one of any team that's a really good defensive team, they communicate the right way. So there's a high premium on that, and if you don't do it, there are repercussions, whether it's in practice or just not being able to play. The other thing that I hold our young women to, like when we're in film, like when a coach asks you about a play or asks you about a personnel, if you don't know it, there's a chance you're not going to play. So we want to keep them locked in and focused all the way up until shoot around to really prepare them for what we're trying to do versus our opponents.
What do you think the turning point in that game was the other night at Hampton? I mean, it was 1-point game in the second quarter, and then you guys eventually started to blow it out. What do you think the turning point was in that basketball
Offense,
game?
being able to score. We ran one set and got maybe 5 looks out of it. Then we go down and defend, and we do the same thing. Now, we're up, and they're taking shots. And it's one of those things, like if they make them, it's still a game. If they miss them, we get out in transition, and we were able to do that.
Let's talk a little bit about Malia Bracone before we get to the second half of this. 17 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. She looked like Malia Bracone of old. Do you kind of see her kind of coming around after those early season injuries a little bit? Talk about her play the other night.
Lily's healthy. She's healthy. She's not thinking about her injury. And, great players like her, like Jordan, once they start to see that tunnel getting ready to end, it's only natural for them to really step up their play. So I expect her to be like this the rest of the season. I expect Jordan to be like this the rest of the season. And we need it. Lily knows that we need her to perform in order to reach the goals that we want to reach.
No question about it. We're here with our head coach, Tarrell Robinson. The Aggies coming off that 74-51 win over Hampton. Actually, the first time they've beaten Hampton by more than 20 points in back-to-back games. So shout out to the women's basketball team on that. Let's talk about crowd. It was Greek night, and a lot of stepping and a lot of partying and all that good stuff was going on. What was that like for your team? What was that atmosphere like? HBCU was in the house at Hampton. What was that like for you guys?
Shout out to marketing for giving us a Greek night. That was that was huge. I'll tell you this. I was in the huddle, and I told my staff, let me know whose eyes are in the stands and they're not playing. Because it was, I caught myself looking. Hold on. Make sure they're not looking because I just got caught looking. I think the largest crowd that we played in, that I've coached in. It was remarkable to know that this is where the stage is set for women's basketball now, North Carolina A&T State University, that we can have 4,500 at a game, at an event to watch us play, another traditionally dominant HBCU program. So I told, our players, I told Jordan, Malia, our starters, I said, y'all created this. Let's make sure we give them a show so they want to come back.
And talk a little bit about, while we're on the subject, just the uniqueness of HBCU, A&T specifically. I mean, I don't think you're gonna be in a gym in CAA where you're gonna have that type of atmosphere, that type of vibe, that type of good time going on. Just talk about the uniqueness of what North Carolina A&T is.
Yeah, and I think, I'm not a numbers guy, but I think we lead the league in attendance. I mean, it's a culture, it's a vibe. You got the DJ going. You got your sororities and your frats turning it up. You got whenever somebody fouls out, we got music for that. I mean, it is really a show. It's a show, and it's entertainment when you come to the game.
No question about it. A&T, big crowd, more than 4,000. And then talk about the WNIT crowds. The UNC crowd was great. Talk Talk about just the growth of your program over the past 13 years to where people want to come out and see. I was in a barbershop, and they're talking about North Carolina A&T women's basketball. Those ladies are really playing well. Talk about just what you've built here in the last 13 years.
You know what's crazy? 5 years ago, 5 or 4 years ago, we didn't know how it was going to be. We were going to be a standalone. When we transitioned to the Big South and the CAA, it was no longer a doubleheader. I just think the bottom line, like when you win, they come. You know, when you have success, they will come. And then when they come, they see the caliber of young women that we have. They see, you know, Jordan Dorsey. They see Shania Clark, a 6'4" kid that can shoot threes. They see Malia Bacone. They see a lefty freshman that gets hot, and Elliot Jessup. You know, they want to come back and continue to see, especially when we win, too.
No question about it. 3 8-1 starts since you've been in CAA. Thoughts about that? Thoughts about what that means going forward? Lessons learned? All of those kind of things that play a part of, you know, that consistency that you guys have built.
Well, it makes me angry that we didn't or haven't gotten our results. But the one thing that I think it says is that our standard, who we are, no matter the staff, because we've had staff changes, no matter the players, because we've had players change in those times, like the results are still the results. What I'm encouraging our young women to do is continue to get better, because like when you're sitting at the top, and they hear this all the time, Elliot's heard this all the time, when you're sitting at the top, what are you chasing? But everybody at the bottom is chasing you. They're watching more film, right? I'm sure everybody in our conference is watching that Monmouth game, trying to figure out, you know, how to beat, you know, the Lady Aggies. And I told them, like, we can't stay the same. We can't, you know, stay stagnated. So when you talk about Malia Bacone starting to step into, you know, who we know she is, like, that's right on time.
Talking with Tarrell Robinson, we're going to come back, talk about some of our upcoming games. Team is 45-19 since leaving the MEAC. You got to love that. 33-12 since joining the CAA. We're going to come back and we'll talk more with Coach Robinson, talk about some of our upcoming games. Charleston Campbell, join us back. Thank you.
Stay tuned. The Coaches Show will be back after these messages.
The Aggie Athletic Foundation is the official fundraising arm for North Carolina A&T Athletics. By making an investment in athletics, you're providing resources that leverage our ability to recruit highly motivated student athletes who train and compete at the highest level of Division I athletics. For more information about this campaign and the AAF, please call 336-285-3063 or visit our website at aggieboosters.com. Fans, be sure to visit longtime North Carolina A&T sponsor Smitty's McDonald's. 3 locations in Greensboro, including Summit Avenue, right near campus. Stop by or use your favorite delivery app today.
I have seen significant changes in my skin. Good Molecules is everything.
My skin looks flawless. My skin is just glowing, and who doesn't want that?
Good Molecules made an amazing difference in my skin. My skin has glowed up completely.
Hyperpigmentation cleared up a lot. My skin tone is a lot smoother.
I've truly seen a difference in my skin. Now I have confidence, and now I'm glowing.
I feel confident in my skin once again, thanks to Good Molecules.
Welcome back to the show.
Conference 9-2. I believe they're now 6-3 in the league. Talk about them. Talk about some of the challenges they may bring to the table to us on Friday night.
Yeah, and they still have the best overall record in conference play. College of Charleston is a team that swept us last year. Coach Harmony and the system that they have in, like they're going to press you the entire game. They're going to get the ball out of your best players' hands. They're going to double your bigs. They're going to push in transition. They're going to run a dribble drive offense. Obviously, we have a bigger team. They're smaller. So that is going to be difficult for us. You know, I have to figure out how to keep Shania Clark in the game, how to keep Asia James in the game, you know, and make sure that our will and who we are is pressed on in the game. But, yeah, Coach Harmony's done an excellent job. We have to take care of the ball. We have to be very intelligent with our shot selection.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure on their makeup of this year, but I know last year watching them, they had a lot of very quick small guards. They were very quick to the ball, very quick with the basketball in their hands. How difficult is that to match up against as you go up against them on Friday?
It's never really like the guards per se. Jordan Dorsey, Malia Bacone can defend. It's when we get to our bigger guards. We get the Paris, we get the Asia James. Like, they still have guards, you know, and we have forwards. So it becomes that matchup. Or when they go small and Shania's in the game, it becomes that matchup that really either exposes us or we do a good job of exposing them. So we got to do our job as a coaching staff. We're in practice. We just finished practice, and we'll have another practice in the morning and shoot around, and we'll be ready, you know, for whatever the Cougars bring.
7-2 at home this year. The only two losses, ranked team in the University of North Carolina, ranked mid-major team in Norfolk State. Just talk about how you've seen your team play at home this year. Have you seen an ease from them? Have you seen some comfort with them playing in Corporate Sports Center this year?
Yes and no. You know, when you're on the road, you can kind of control their time a little bit, make sure that they go to bed, make sure that they are following those curfew rules. At home, and we trust that they're going to do what they need to do, and then obviously they have class, so they're distracted a little bit. Some come to shoot around late, some come to film late. So no, I don't necessarily like that, but that's a part of collegiate athletics. Our young women, I think we have to have, I think 2 o'clock is our shoot around time. So if someone still has a class, they'll let me know, hey, Coach Rob, I'm gonna be a little late. And I'm like, okay, you know, but yeah, but playing at home is good, but just the preparation part, we have to practice in the morning. We got a 7 a.m. tomorrow. We had a 7 a.m. On Tuesday. You know, like those start to wear on you once you get into this time of the year.
And I don't know, when you're on top like that, when you're 8-1, how hard is it to kind of get to the finish line? Because like you mentioned a week ago, you are getting everybody's best shot. And so how hard is it to kind of get to that finish line and close out strong the way you want to and you know, come away? I guess the first goal would be that regular season championship.
Mm-hmm. You know, 2 things with that. Like, one, because of the results, the situation we're in, the circumstances, sitting in first place, and I tell our young women, like, it shouldn't take a whole lot to get you to buy in, to get you to do more, to get you to commit. Now, with that being said, us from a coaching standpoint, we're wrecking our brains trying to make sure we don't get caught again. Right. You know, so the preparation from that standpoint is one thing, but the other side, like it doesn't take a lot. Like, we do the work because we're in the position we're in because we've done the work. So we just got to continue it.
I know you don't like to look too far ahead. Most coaches don't. Nope. But a Sunday game against Campbell, I guess the first question would be, how important are those in-state games to recruiting? When you look at your record, 61-25 against in-state opponents, which is absolutely incredible when you consider there's the NC States and the Dukes within this state that you've gone up against. But what's the importance of playing and being able to defeat those in-state schools?
Yeah, like you recruiting an in-state kid. If they recruit them, yeah, we beat them. You know, you're able to, or you just tell them to check the schedule when we played them. You don't necessarily say we beat them, but yeah, it is very competitive. I think there's 18, 19 Division I's in the state of North Carolina. We make sure those numbers that you just said, that recruits know and understand that North Carolina A&T State University is one of the best Division I programs in the state. But, you know, Campbell, you know, Ronnie Fisher, they're right there. Like, he is an exceptional X and O's, defensive mind, they're right there when you talk about nationally ranked defensively. And in my opinion, I think they've caught everybody off guard this year with how they're playing. They're similar as far as us. They're similar to College of Charleston, where they're playing 4 and 5 guards at one time, and we have to figure out how to make sure that our will can still, be influenced during the game and not theirs.
I want to jump back to Charleston because there's an interesting dynamic. You've had players who've had to go against their old teams, and then you'll have that situation with Charleston on Friday. Is that more of a thing for the players having to go up against a former player like that? And do you guard against a former player wanting to kind of show out against you in terms of playing well?
As far as me, we go about it like we go about everything. We are obviously familiar with the young lady, Naya. She's playing very well for them, as I knew she would. She's an exceptional player. I talked to her about that I think she could coach. Her basketball IQ is phenomenal. She has such a competitive edge. And I anticipate her playing well against us. She's always, even when she was wearing the blue and gold, showed up in the big games. And Friday is a really big game. We want to continue to separate ourselves, and they want to catch up to us. So, but as far as how we go about our business, it's still about personnel. It's still about scout. It's still about what we do, and how we, make sure that they don't influence and beat us.
We won't be back here until March, but the schedule looks like it favors you just a little bit. Of course, we got the 2 big home games here over the weekend, but then there's another gap in the schedule where you don't have to play for a week between games. Is that significant for you guys in terms of, as we talk about, having to do the practices and those type of things? Does the schedule favor you guys a little bit going down the stretch?
I don't know. You just said I don't look too far ahead. I just know during those times I try to throw wrinkles in stuff that we do to keep our opponents on edge and let them make sure they're not getting used to what we do. So we'll put in some new plays, put a new wrinkle in defensively, baseline out of bounds, sideline out of bounds, or just improve in some areas that we think that we need to improve on. The Monmouth game really showed us that you just got to keep working. Anybody can catch you. You can have an off night. And unfortunately, everybody was off, that game, and we want to try to make sure that doesn't happen ever again.
Head coach Tarrell Robinson, he'll come back and join us later in the show, have a little fun with him. But coming up next, we have freshman forward Elliot Jessup, and then we have our associate head coach, Siobhan Earp. Join us back. We got some more show to go.
Stay tuned. The Coaches Show will be back after these messages.
Fans, be sure to visit longtime North Carolina A&T sponsor Smitty's McDonald's. 3 locations in Greensboro, including Summit Avenue, right near campus. Stop by or use your favorite delivery app today.
Good morning, America. Today, thousands of our teammates will make and deliver over 300 of the world's best brands and flavors, locally, in towns large and small. From the heartland to the coast, our products are moving and our trucks are rolling. We show passion and purpose. We love to refresh and serve our communities. We're Coca-Cola Consolidated, your local bottler.
Using these type of cleansers could be damaging and stripping your skin. I use new Olay cleansing melts every day. Just soak, activate, and wash to clean, tone, and refresh. That's a 3 times better clean. Olay.
The Aggie Athletic Foundation is the official fundraising arm for North Carolina A&T Athletics. By making an investment in athletics, you're providing resources that leverage our ability to recruit highly motivated student athletes who train and compete at the highest level of Division I athletics. For more information about this campaign and the AAF, please call 336-285-3063 or visit our website at aggieboosters.com.
Welcome back to the show.
Welcome back to the show. Just found out we have head coach Tarrell Robinson's favorite freshman, and she's right here, Elliott Jessup, forward guard out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Welcome to the show.
It's nice to be here, Mr. Holloway.
Oh, good. I like when they call him Mr. Holloway. You know, it makes me feel old, but that's all good. Talk a little bit about your game the other night, 11 points, season high, kind of your breakout. We kind of got introduced to Miss Jessup. Talk about that game and how it all came down for you.
So I just know they weren't playing me as a shooter, and two of my shots actually were assists by Jordan, and I know that they were playing her tight. They weren't going to give her anything. So it helped that she is such a good player. So when two people came on her, she found me, and I was open, able to shoot it, knock it down.
What did what did the family say? What were they telling you after the game, after your breakout?
They were proud of me. My dad, he's never just going to give me anything, so he was like, this is a good game for you, but, you know, just keep working, getting better, and don't be content.
Outstanding. Talk a bit about your journey here to North Carolina A&T. Why did you choose Aggie Land? What brought you here to play for this successful program?
So they started recruiting me as a sophomore, I'm pretty sure, in high school. And I remember coming on campus in the summer. Nobody was here. It was just me and one of my AU teammates. And just falling in love with the coaching staff. Like, they felt really real. Like, I've been on visits where it just didn't feel right, felt fake, felt real. And just after coming to some games in the following winter, just seeing how Coach Robinson was a good coach. You know, I could tell he was definitely a tough coach, but I knew I needed that if I wanted to grow, and I wanted to grow wherever I went. So,
no question. So how are you adjusting to campus life here at North Carolina A&T? How's that been for you in terms of classes and having to go to practice and training sessions and all those kind of things?
It's been pretty good. I've been handling it well. It definitely helps living in apartments off campus, you know, because people in the dorms, they get loud. They'll stay up till 3 a.m., stuff like that. But it's really nice just being able to have my own space. And then I have great coaches who care about, you know, my grades and how I'm doing. I meet with my coaches about that. So it's also helpful to have people working with me with that.
So I was this many years old when I found out you were left-handed. How does that benefit you in terms of the court? Because they always tell me that left-handers have the best jump shot. Is that true?
Yes.
Or are you guys lying about that?
No, it's true.
It's true?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And what do you have in your bag? I mean, what do you pull out? Have we seen all the contents of your bag in terms of your game yet?
No, I don't think so. I feel like I'm still growing as a player. But I feel like what I usually do is I just take whatever the defense is giving me. I feel like I have a pretty high IQ, so I just make the right reads and stuff like that.
So is it harder to guard you as a left-hander, do you think? Is it awkward to guard you?
I'm not even sure. I'm trying to think. Sometimes it is confusing when I guard left-handed people because I'm usually thinking force them left. And then, you know, they might get me one time. I'm like, crap, they're right-handed. I mean, they're left-handed, not right. Like that.
We're keeping it clean.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about what you see your future as. What is your major? Kind of what are some of the things that you want to do when you grow up and get out here in the real world?
So I'm a kinesiology major, and I want to be a PA in sports med. I also want to try and graduate in 3 years because I know by the time I graduate, A&T, well, they've been talking about it, that they'll have a post-grad program for like sports med, like kinesiology students, and I'd like to start that my 4th year. So, yeah.
Talking with Elliott Jessup here, freshman out of Winston-Salem. You weren't a part of the first 2 8-1 teams, but you are now. What is it like for you coming in as a freshman, knowing that this program has been successful in the past? Is that any added pressure, or do you enjoy being able to kind of add to the legacy of what's been established thus far?
It is a little pressure, just knowing, like, a lot of the girls have been here before, you know, and I've got to step up and grow quickly. But I always love a challenge. Like, I always want to get better at whatever I'm doing in life, so it's been a good challenge.
And how challenging is practice? Because you look at this team, I mean, they are a lot of kids on the roster. How challenging is the practices? Because you're a freshman earning playing time on a team that has some pretty good veterans in Dorsey and Clark and Bracone. So how challenging are the practices?
I would say it's pretty challenging. Coach Rob expects a lot out of us, but, you know, that's how we get better. And it also helps having Jordan, Malia, Shaq, like people to look up to. Like I always watch and see what they're doing before I step on the court, you know, trying to make sure I get whatever is right. But another thing that is like a moral value for me is like even if I'm not the best player, I always want to be like the one who's working the hardest. So I feel like that's helped me a lot in growing into the freshman I am right now. So.
How tough was it for you to learn the defensive principles here? Because I know for a fact that you don't get on the court here unless you play defense. So how difficult was it for you to kind of learn some of those defensive principles in order to get the playing time that you're getting?
It definitely took me a while to catch on. I feel like not until I came back to school, like we had summer session, you know, I feel like it wasn't until I came back to school that I really caught on. And like I had conversations with my parents and they're like, well, you can either, you know, complain about it or you can fix it. So, you know, I came back and I started to catch on to things. And defense, I've always loved defense. So I feel like once I figured out our principles, you know, I was good from there.
Question. Who's your favorite player, basketball player?
Basketball player? I don't even know. I don't really watch basketball like that much anymore.
It's amazing to me hear basketball players say they don't watch basketball games.
I watch most of just our games. But I mean, I don't know. I like watching Dennis Rodman highlights. I don't know.
Dennis Rodman. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I don't think you were born then, but okay.
No.
YouTube.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman. Okay, but he was a good rebounder, good defender.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no question about it. We'd love to talk to you some more later on. Just a freshman. You're going to have a great career. We believe that. And thank you for joining us here tonight, Elliot. And we're going to bring up your associate head coach, but give it up for Elliot. Great job. Great job.
Thank you.
Great job. Elliot Jessup. I am ready for you. Now we are joined by Siobhan Earp, our associate head coach here, women's basketball. She has been here 13 seasons and certainly has been a huge part of all of the success that has come upon this program, no question about it. Siobhan, talk a little bit about your journey to A&T. What brought you here?
Well, Coach Robinson and I became really good friends when we both were competing in the CAA. He was at VCU at the time, and I was at William & Mary. So we got a chance to talk during that time just through competing. And so we were on the road, I think, recruiting in Richmond, and he said he was coming back to his alma mater to take over and asked me if I would come be his recruiting coordinator. So I just took the chance and jumped on that, and I had already been looking up to him because he's been known for defense and recruiting, and that kind of led me here.
Talk about your role here within the program, because to me, it always seems like you're on go. I don't think you sleep, but certainly, you are outstanding in terms of making sure all the things are going correctly for the women's basketball program. But what do you see your role here as the women's basketball associate head coach? Are you just the right hand, just making sure everything
That's
moves?
my goal. It's just to make life easier for Coach Robinson. I know with being a head coach, there comes a ton of responsibility. You know, he wears multiple hats. And so I try to take some of that off of him whenever I can, whether it's making sure the ladies are doing what they're supposed to do on and off the court, academics, filling in for him wherever it's needed. And then, I love what I do. It's a big piece of, what I get out of life, being able to mentor to these young women. So I just want to make sure that I fill in wherever is needed. So that's my ultimate goal, just to make sure I'm being everything I can for this program.
What were your expectations coming in to working at a HBCU program, working under Coach Robinson, and how has your views changed, if they're changed, over the last 13 years? How have you grown?
Well, I expected to win. I was very familiar with not just A&T, but HBCUs in general. I grew up in Hampton, Virginia, so I was familiar with so many HBCUs because I lived down the street from one, over the water from a few. And so I was very familiar with A&T in general. But when, after talking to Coach Robinson during that time and knowing what he wanted to do coming back to his alma mater, I didn't expect anything but this. I'm a winner. I want to win. I'm going to do whatever it takes to win. So this isn't surprising to me. My goal, and I think the goal from Coach Robinson, just continue to elevate the program and continue to make it what he wants it to be.
I got it from a very good source that Coach Robinson is the one that pays very attention to detail. It's very detailed. But the same person told me that you're the smart one, the genius, the brains behind this operation. How much do you study your craft, the art of basketball, in terms of, just having the players ready each and every game?
Well, I'm not the brains behind it, but I do study it a lot, and I think I've learned that over the years from him because he's very detailed, and I think I've gotten better over time, just seeing the bigger picture with things. So that takes growth. But yeah, I just, whatever Coach Robinson's telling the ladies, trying to make sure I repeat it. I'm not as intense as he is. I think sometimes, they need it where, they know that what they're going to get from him, and I try to make sure that I say the same things, but also kind of hear what they're saying and try to present it to them, a different way. So I'm always trying to make sure that they're doing the best they can, being what they need to be for this program, while also just making sure that I reiterate what he's saying.
And you were a student athlete yourself. How much does that help you relate to the young ladies?
I get it. You get it, and then as a woman, not just a woman, but as a Black woman, knowing everything that they're facing, not just on the court, but also off the court. So I try to make sure that I put myself in their shoes, and, in certain instances. So I definitely get it from that standpoint. And then, I'm a student of the game always, so trying to make sure that they understand that and always trying to grow at the same time.
When you're away from the court, when you have some downtime, what are some of the hobbies? What are some of the things that you like to get into when you're kicking your feet up?
Well, I love to cook.
Okay, well.
I'm a big puzzle person, so I do a lot of puzzles. I like the outdoors, and, sometimes I just like to be able to relax, watch some movies. I'm a big reader. So that's usually what I'm doing, when I do have that time. And it's also good for me just for the mental aspect of it. The game is long, the season is long, so any chance I have where I can step away and just, get myself to make sure I'm good, then that's what I'm doing.
What's the specialty when you're in the kitchen? What's the specialty? What's good on the menu?
I'm versatile. It just depends on what I want. So I don't know if I have a specialty. It's just whatever's on my brain to eat. That's probably what I'm gonna make.
Have you binged anything lately?
Like anything, like movie shows,
whatever.
The Equalizer TV show. I'm binging on that with Queen Latifah. That's a pretty good series right now.
Love the movies. Love the movies. In terms of reading, any good books out there right now?
Right now, I'm really trying to make sure I get more into the Bible. So I've been reading that even more, just making sure that my spirituality is intact, especially where we are right now in this world. So that's really right now what I'm doing. I'm focused on.
As coach, I'm going to ask you, as his right hand, what is it going to take to get this team over the hump for that regular season championship and then perhaps in the NCAA tournament?
I think it's going to take another level of focus. Like you said, we've been here before. We've been 8-1 before, but I think as the season progressed, we got comfortable, and everybody else was trying to catch us and beat us. And I think if our ladies maintain that level of commitment and hunger to win it and not relax, I think that's going to take us, over the top.
No question about it. We're with our associate head coach, Siobhan Earp. Thank you for joining us.
Thank
we
you.
Really appreciate it. Thank you for all the hard work you do. It's
it.
Definitely seen. So give it up for Coach Earp.
Thank you.
We'll be back a couple of more minutes with Coach Robinson, and then we'll wrap it up. Thank you.
Stay tuned. The Coaches Show will be back after these messages.
Using these type of cleansers could be damaging and stripping your skin. I use new Olay cleansing melts every day. Just soak, activate, and wash to clean, tone, and refresh. That's a 3 times better clean. Olay.
6,000 universities. Watching North Carolina A&T. We graduate more African American students in engineering, journalism, liberal arts, and agriculture than any other campus anywhere, period. Our grads earn more right out of school than all but one other university system peer. And 96% of Aggie alums say they wish they can do it all over again. Can you feel the pride? You will. A&T. Always doing, never done.
Good morning, America. Today, thousands of our teammates will make and deliver over 300 of the world's best brands and flavors, locally, in towns large and small. From the heartland to the coast, our products are moving and our trucks are rolling. We share passion and purpose. We love to refresh and serve our communities. We are Coca-Cola Consolidated, your local bottler.
Vice President Kamala Harris is bringing the Fight for Our Freedoms college tour to North Carolina A&T State University today.
Why A&T specifically? The history and legacy of a people is 400 years of oppression.
We have always been able to adjust and adapt to whatever is thrown at us. And I think that just speaks to the resilience of our community.
You did it, Aggies!
Welcome back to the show.
Welcome back to the show. We're going to close out a little bit, have a little fun with Coach Robinson. We're going to stay away from anything Kobe Bryant because I'm thinking that's going to be the answer every time. I think he believes Kobe is the thing best that ever lived. But just wanted to ask you a little bit as terms of player styles and those type of things. If it were Isaiah Thomas or Larry Bird, which way would you go in terms of putting them on your team if you had one last slot on your team?
Larry Bird.
Why would you say that?
Because he can shoot. He can shoot and he's clutch. Size. I do not like small guards.
You don't. That is very true. I've heard that before. Karl Malone, Rasheed Wallace.
Malone, again, size. Rasheed is legit. I was a big UNC fan when him and Stackhouse was there. But yeah, Karl Malone. I mean, what is he? 4th all-time scoring. Yeah, mailman.
Deladon or Breonna Stewart?
Deladon, because I coached against her, and she's special. By far the best collegiate player I've ever coached against, and she's versatile. She's inside and outside.
Can Caitlin Clark get to the level of a Sue Bird?
Yes. Yeah. I want to be careful and say that she's already there, but Caitlin is, man, her ceiling is high. She's special.
No question about it. If you had to take one last slot, I'm trying to think of maybe a bigger guard for you, but would you take maybe Mitch Richmond or Tim Hardaway?
Mitch can shoot it too, and he's bigger.
All right. We'll close out on this last one right here. We'll have a little fun with this one. Bruce Jenkins or J.J. Miller?
Dang. Bruce Jenkins or J.J., like which player would I want? Me and Bruce played the same position, so J.J.
That's right.
Shout out to my roomie.
Yeah.
Bruce Jenkins.
I want to thank Coach Rob for coming out. Certainly thank Elliot Jessup for joining us here. Siobhan Earp. I think we're back here next week with Coach Monte Ross. He will have his 3rd show with us here on the Coaches Show. Thank you again for joining us here, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube, like and follow us on Facebook.